Welcome to One Take Podcast, episode 145. Let's try that all over again. This week, we were reviewing the weirdest movie that you will see all year or maybe ever. Beau Is Afraid from Ari Aster and A24. How we doing? Brother.
Real cinema.
Doing better now that this movie is behind me.
You've had a couple of palate cleansers.
Had a couple palate cleansers. Yeah, I went and saw two good movies, Polite Society and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which could not possibly be more different from this movie.
You don't say. The Judy Blume novel adaptation is different from Ari Aster's therapy session.
Yeah, and great basketball's happening right now. Hopefully, by the time you hear this, the Warriors have experienced their downfall, and I can be happy.
Unlike Ari Aster. Tej, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. This is a great film. I cannot wait to watch it again.
Ugh.
I'm very excited to defend
Watch it
again. I'm 100%. I've seen Midsommar like 30 times. I'm definitely going to watch
that.
This
is what I can understand watching
Midsommar is good.
Yeah, so is Beau Is Afraid. It's also
it's
good.
not.
I cannot wait to rewatch it. I'm fiending to rewatch it. Soon as that shit is streaming, I'm tapped in. Day one of streaming, I am in that bitch. I cannot.
That
wait.
is the one thing that I didn't think I would hear anyone say is that whether you liked it or not, even if you liked it, I'd be shocked if you ever watched.
I'm 100% tapping back in now that
3 hours.
I mean, that was torturous. But
3 hours of a bad time.
Beau was being tortured, and so is the viewer in some ways. But it was real cinema. I was not bored for 1 second, not one, not once.
Teach, see a therapist, seek God.
I know. Hey, I know I might be the problem. I like this guy's movies. I like his style. I know that he's fucked up and he's got a lot of issues, but for whatever reason, I like his issues being on screen. So I hope he never goes to therapy.
I've only seen Midsommar, whatever we're calling it, and Beau Is Afraid. I haven't seen Hereditary because I'm a coward. But in my eyes, Ari Aster is a strong 1 for 2. He missed real bad. He pulled up from 30 feet like he Jordan Poole and just airball.
Real quick, the funniest thing that I ever heard Jordan said about Jordan Poole or put on the timeline about Jordan Poole is like Jordan Poole plays basketball like Steve Kerr spins him around 3 times before he sends him onto the court.
I saw that. That's really good.
That's what Ari Aster was doing in this movie.
Exactly.
A24 spun him around a few times.
To go make a movie. Fuck.
Go cook.
Yeah, so Beau Is Afraid. We'll just say this off the top, and I said it in the intro. The weirdest, it's probably not the weirdest movie that's going to come out this year, we don't see everything. And that's going to be kind of baked into our reviews. We're a very
might still be the weirdest movie.
It might still be. But we're a very populist movie going bunch here. We see major releases in theaters, not stuff that plays in like somebody's backyard in Los Angeles or in like a French field somewhere.
I see that too, brother. I see that too.
But you know what I'm saying? You're not seeing like Danish impressionistic cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in. If they tell me it's real cinema over there in Danish impressionistic cinema theater, I'm going over there.
Unless it gets some Oscar buzz, I'm probably not watching that shit, like the super weirdo shit. But, I dabble in weirdo shit from time to time.
Occasionally, but we cover the movie boy cinema on this podcast normally, right? Is that fair to say?
We do the Nike movie. We're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy here soon. Like, we're out here doing shit people have heard of.
But occasionally a filmmaker comes along that will break that mold that has somehow gotten into the mainstream but maintained this sort of art house, if you will, is probably the wrong word for it, but their own certain style, but have somehow breaking into the mainstream that everybody now feels the need to talk about. Ari Aster firmly did that, along with our good buddy, what's his face that did The Northman?
Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers. Just 2 people that on this podcast were like, yeah, sure, season tickets, let's go. I might have to like get with the ticket office on those tickets here in a second.
Yeah.
Beau Is Afraid, 2023, 2 hours and 59 minutes on the dot. 7.2.
And you feel every bit of it.
Yep. 7.2 on IMDb, fourth ranked popularity movie trending right now. Following the sudden death of his mother, a mild-mannered but anxiety-ridden man confronts his darkest fears as he embarks on an epic Kafkaesque, that's probably Kafkaesque,
Kafkaesque, yeah.
Kafkaesque odyssey back home. 62 Metascore, written and directed by Ari Aster. Writers A24 doesn't have to worry about the Writers Guild strike because Ari said, I got it. Stars Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Ryan, Patty LuPone, Nathan Lane in the most unlike Nathan Lane role I've seen in a long time. Kylie Rogers, Parker Posey, Richard Kind makes an appearance. And the funniest thing that I've seen, his name is Armin Nafapitian, if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. But Nahapitian, he's on TikTok. There's been a stuff, you know how we've done the de-aging stuff in Marvel, and it looks unreal. The Uncanny Valley is weird on it. There looked like he was, because there's like a sheen on his face or something, it looked like he was a CGI younger Joaquin Phoenix in the poster and the promo. He has since gone on TikTok and been like, I'm a real person.
Holy
I'm
shit.
not CGI.
I thought it was CGI, dude.
No, it's a real kid. A real, I think he's like 19 or 20. But yeah, he's since like gone viral on TikTok being like, no, that's me.
This is just my face, bro.
And also, I don't want to spoil the cameo, but one of the funniest cameos that I think I've seen in a long time in a movie. Dex, you look confused, like you don't know what I'm talking. The UPS guy.
Amazing that they did that. Dex was probably asleep by this time.
Yeah.
By this time, Dex was definitely asleep.
So this movie hasn't done as well as his other films. I'm not sure how well Midsommar did anyway. I will say this, quite the accomplishment for him to make this movie on a $35 million budget, considering what we know people spend on money. Like they spent $90 million making Air. $35 million budget, $6 million gross worldwide. Prime territory for somebody to reclaim this in like a year and a half and be like, actually, you plebs didn't even understand what this movie was about.
You don't have to wait a year and a half. I'm right here, brother.
Okay.
This is the classic HBO Max bump movie. Or Max, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm not calling it that. So, people are lying online about this movie. 70% Rotten Tomato score from critics, 70% audience score. Lying. Yeah. Beau Is Afraid is overstuffed.
Why do y'all think that the people are lying? Why would they lie? I don't understand.
This is the one movie that is this weird, that is this divisive, that doesn't have like a 75% Rotten Tomato score and not a 55% audience score. It's the one movie like that.
Well, that's because most people like this film.
That's untrue.
You don't like it?
No, there's no way, dude.
70% of people like this film. What are y'all talking about?
There's no way. I'm sorry. It's not possible.
Beau Is Afraid is overstuffed to the point of erasing the line between self-flagellation and self-indulgence, but Ari Aster's bravura and Joaquin Phoenix's sheer commitment give this neurotic odyssey undeniable power. Critics are also lying about this because, and I know I pronounced this wrong, bravura. Okay. Anyway, critics are also lying about this because they're also like going on and saying like, well, it wasn't for me, but I still understand that like it was like an interesting film. And you're like, just say you don't like the thing.
Just say you
Why do y'all
like
assume that everybody's lying? What would be the agenda about lying?
Every critic that I have listened to that I like, yes, some people do and like it, I guess, for a piece of art. But like anybody that I've listened to that I respect about like this sort of thing has said, "Well, it's not for everybody," and sometimes I didn't even think it was for me. So they're tiptoeing the line of not saying that they didn't like it.
Yeah, they don't want to be like, oh, this shit is ass. Like they just
They don't want to be
wanna,
left behind because
they
they
don't
did.
want to sound dumb and like they don't
I
get
wish y'all understood how
surrealist
crazy you
cinema.
sound. You guys really think that everybody is lying about liking this film? I
Yes,
don't even understand that.
You think
People
the
like
same
this
way
film.
about things.
I feel like everybody in my theater had a great time. I totally understand why people don't like it, but I definitely never thought or assumed that most people didn't like it. I thought most people were enjoying it. That has my sense has been most people have been enjoying it.
To me, if you talk about anything, movies, music, TV shows, whatever, and you're like, well, some people are gonna hate that. Like it's like, you're and like that's like your main like point of your review of it. It's like some people are really going to hate that, and you don't say anything like actually positive about it. I'm like,
That's
you
just
also hated
honesty, though. Some people
it.
are like, there's a big penis monster. Like, of course, people are going to. Of course, some people are gonna be like, I'm definitely not in on this film. But Ari Aster wasn't trying to make a film that everyone was going to like. But
And that's
plenty of
fine,
people.
but
That
like,
doesn't mean no one likes it, though.
what do you like about it? Like, what?
Oh, well, you can get to me. I like tons of stuff about it. I can't wait to watch it again.
I actually want to start with Dex. I want to sandwich this. Dex, go ahead. You had the most visceral reaction to it. I'm going to be the middleman on this. I hate doing that, but that's just where I am. We talked about it off pod. But Dex, go ahead.
I hated this movie. I said that in my review that I wrote for Apollo HOU. Once I saw it, it's very rare for me to go to the movie theater and have a bad time while watching a movie. Like most of the time, even if a movie is fucking awful, like I think probably the worst movie I've seen in theaters recently, last few years is The Nutcracker in the Four Realms. Fucking awful, useless film. Just terrible. But I had a fine time watching it because I just like going to the movie theaters. I go every week. I love that shit. Beau Is Afraid, I was sitting there and I was like, when this is going to be over so I can go home. Like I don't want to be here. I'm having an awful fucking time watching this movie. It's over long. It makes no sense on purpose. And like that's fine. Whatever. Surrealist cinema, not supposed to make any sense. Whatever. That's cool. I hated it. I felt like my time was being wasted. I felt like Ari Aster was just beating his dick in my face for 3 hours.
Quite literally.
It felt like Ari Aster was like, you know what? I can do what I want because I'm popping. So I'm gonna make a movie about my mommy issues that makes no fucking sense, waste everyone's time, and they're all gonna eat that shit up because they're all idiots and they ain't got nothing better to do with their lives. So I'm gonna take A24's $35 million. I'm gonna make a giant penis monster. I'm gonna put Joaquin Phoenix in this weird stage play that seems like it's partially mirroring the story, and then like we'll just never mention it again, and it like just will not connect to anything anyway whatsoever, and then we'll move on with our lives because it's all about how mommy wouldn't let you nut, and like I hated it, I despised it, thought it was awful. We'll never watch it again, and if you liked it, that's fine. I just need to understand why. What did you like? Like, what is there to like? Parts of it look cool, I guess. Maybe if you like feeling bad, then like that's cool, I guess. But other than that, what are we talking about? As soon as you think there's any kind of cool connecting story or something, it just tell you that there's not, and then you move on to the next like bad feeling. I hated it. F.
Ooh.
F. I hated it. There's a lot of movies that I like don't like, and you know I'll give it a D or I'll give it like a C minus or something, and then I'll go back and be like, well, should have gave it lower than that. No, none of that. Beau Is Afraid fucking hated it immediately as it was happening. F.
We're big friends of we're big not friends, we're big proponents of plot and story
And rhyme and reason.
Yeah, on this podcast. What was the plot of Beau Is Afraid?
He has to go on a journey to go visit his mom, like the Odyssey. That's the plot.
Beau loses his virginity. Let's say.
What that might have been it.
And maybe that
may have
happened.
been
Maybe it
it.
didn't. Who knows? Like,
Tej, I'm very curious to see, like, preface this with the fact that you were stoned when you went and watched this.
Okay, so apparently Joaquin Phoenix said before the movie that you shouldn't take mushrooms before you go see this film. I did not see that warning, so I took mushrooms and I smoked a little bit of weed before I went to go see this film, which I knew to do because I have more times than I care to admit on this podcast taken some mushrooms and watch Midsummer. So obviously, I
That's
knew
unbelievable.
he was going to put me in a certain spot that I needed to be in. I needed to feel greatly stressed. I needed to feel a sense of not knowing what the hell's happening. I needed to feel a sense of surrealism, and I think that he fucking nailed it. This movie is awesome. I had an amazing
do you like
time.
the feeling of impending doom?
Yes, that's what he does better than anyone.
Oh.
He can really give you that. This is a surrealist nightmare. I will admit that for the first 30 or 40 minutes, I was like, what is actually happening? You have no sense of what's real and what's fake. You learn early on in the movie that Beau has been prescribed a cool new medicine that he's never, ever, ever supposed to take without water. And so from that point, I realized, oh, we're not going to know what's real and what's fake, because I take you back to the scene in Midsummer where they finally make it out to where they're going after the whole setup, and they get out there and they take mushrooms. And once they take mushrooms, he starts to do this thing where you have no sense of like where you are geographically or time passage or anything, because
the
we're in
camera
this
flips
sequence
upside down.
where the camera flips upside down. All of a sudden, Florence Pugh is wandering through the woods. She's lost. She's hearing noises, and you have no sense of how far back you're going to the actual place where they're going. It took you on a road through this movie that made perfect sense, and then they immediately railroaded you off the road, so you had no idea where you were going. Excuse me. And from that point on, in the movie, you really have no sense of anything. It's always daytime. There are people disappearing. There are people lying, and you don't really know what's happening. But in Midsommar, we know that the people are disappearing because we saw them disappear. However, our characters have no sense of what's happening. Beau Is Afraid did the same thing, except for did it for the entire movie, which is a long time to do that, and didn't clue the viewer into what's real and what's fake. We don't get to see from the outside. We know what Florence Pugh is actually going through. Excuse me. God damn.
That's one thing that I didn't write, and Chris Stuckman on big reviewer on YouTube pointed this out. He was like, there's no unreliable narrator or narrator. It's all unreliable narrating. It's just one guy's POV. It's Beau's POV the entire
whole thing
time.
is so unreliable.
And this guy is mentally ill.
I thought that was so fascinating because you're like, I don't know what Beau perceives and knows, and I don't know what I perceive and know, but I know that the worst possible thing that could ever happen to Beau at any given turn is happening to Beau. He is having a very hard time of it, bro. We're establishing the character. Joaquin is so understated. I'm already loving the performance, and all this stuff is happening, and I probably said what the fuck 3,000 times watching this movie. None of it, you can't see any of it coming. It's like driving around a curve for a whole road trip. Like, you don't know what's ahead of you. And that feeling of uneasiness did work so well for me. The first part of the movie where he's in his city, I'm like, is this supposed to represent like a real city? Are there actually these things happening outside of his house? Is this just his perception? And not knowing the difference between that was just so dope to me. I was just like, okay, I'm having a good time. Then he ends up with some nice neighborly looking whites, and I'm like, okay, maybe things are maybe things are going to turn around for Beau. These people are weird as hell, and I quickly realized the suburbs are just as scary as the inner city that he was living in this shithole apartment. Being out here in the suburbs with this war veteran is equally scary. He's creeping around. He's being weird. Nothing is making sense.
A war
the mom
veteran
is whispering.
and a teenage girl.
There's a teenage girl who fucking hates him despite the fact that he's done nothing wrong. Also, apparently during this attack that happened to him before he was taken to the suburbs, he was stabbed, but we don't even perceive the stabbing. We just perceive the fact that he was ran over by a car. He wakes up and then they remind him that he was stabbed, and then we see it being stabbed. Like, I have no idea what's happening, and I enjoy that. That feeling of unease kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. The scene that we won't spoil yet that happens in the third act of this movie is the funniest thing I've seen in a theater in years, in 7, 8 years. My theater was about half full. They were hysterical. We laughed throughout because this is a dark comedy. Like, this is so unlike his other movies. I didn't know he could ever be funny. There's nothing funny about Hereditary. There's nothing funny about Midsommar, only in a dark way where you're seeing somebody cut open and split eagle and put into a bear costume. That is funny in its own way, but it does not elicit laughs in the movie theater. Like, it is stone silent in the movie theater. People are horrified at what they're watching from his last two movies. So to have it sitting in a movie theater watching an Ari Aster movie where people are legitimately laughing, everything that Beau said that was longer than like a one word or like an onomatopoeia because he's scared of something was hilarious in its own way. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so well written. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. When the thing happens in the attic, I legitimately was like, okay, that was the only moment in the whole movie where I was like, Ari might have jumped the shark here, bro. Like, what are we doing in this attic? There's a lot going on up here. This is weird. This doesn't seem to fit with the movie I was watching about anxiety. And then you get to the final scene, and I was right back in again. The final scene to me is so beautiful. It's so great. I was in love with this movie. I was never bored. I totally get. I don't think it's disingenuous to say it's not for everybody. As I was watching it, I was like, people are going to hate this movie. One guy behind me was like, I can't believe that we just sat and watched that movie for 3 hours. That was awful. And I totally understood why he said that. But for me, I really enjoyed it. I walked in expecting it to be a very different movie than his previous movies, and it is very different in a lot of different ways. But I also saw some similarities, and I don't know. I just like his style. There's something going on with him and his parents, and him and sex. He's got weird sex stuff and weird parent stuff and weird Oedipus stuff always happening in his work, which is just super strange. But I enjoyed it. I gave it an A-. I had a great time. I can't wait to watch it again. But I also think this is probably the most off-putting movie I've ever seen. And I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't recommend this to people. I wouldn't openly be telling everybody in my life, hey, you should watch Beau Is Afraid. There are specific people in my life that I would say that to, and people know that they can say that to me, but I wouldn't just be recommending this to like my parents. I wouldn't tell my parents to watch Beau Is Afraid.
I was going to say, imagine
No.
recommending this to your mom and dad and just being like, what do you think about this one?
Somebody's got to be weird and broken enough to have to enjoy this journey of poor Beau being tortured. But I also realized in the movie that Beau was being tortured, but a lot of this was Beau's fault too, bro. Like, he never asserted himself. The whole fucking neighborhood went into his house, and instead of like going in there and be like, hey, get the fuck out of my house, he literally slept on a scaffolding, which is a lot more dangerous than kicking homeless people out of your house. It was like he never once was assertive ever, and then all of a sudden, when his mom started giving him bars, then he wants to choke his mom. Now you're going to be condemned. Now you're going to be judged. And I don't know. I
mean, he got some pussy for the first time in his life. That's why
he did.
Assertive.
That's going to be the funniest thing that any of y'all see all year. I guarantee you that. Mariah Carey, I will not mention why yet. Mariah Carey is a goddamn queen. She was at the premiere. Mariah Carey knows real cinema. Mariah Carey was also in State Property 1, which is the greatest movie of all time.
I want to know Mariah Carey's reaction to this movie. Like, genuine reaction.
She went to the whole, and she sat through the whole movie, by the way. She did not leave early. She sat through the whole premiere. Well, her scene's not till close to the end anyway, so I guess she kind of
no way she knew what she was getting into. No way.
Get into another check. That's what she was getting into.
That's what the $35 million was spent on this movie. That and the cock monster.
Mariah Carey is a goddamn queen. A lot of other people would have been like, fuck no, you're not putting my music in this weird ass fucking movie, especially not in this weird ass fucking scene. But Mariah was like, fuck yes, I understand real cinema. Turn that shit up. And Mariah Carey, I was in the theater singing the song damn near at the top of my lungs because one, it's the greatest song of all time. It's an incredible song.
I can't believe
Ari Aster every time. Including in the weirdest movie you've ever seen. It fucking works. It's great. When she started hitting the notes at the end on the bridge, that is the most fire shit ever. The scene is just hilarious. I didn't know Ari Aster could be funny. Like, I didn't know that he had that in his bag. I apologize, Ari. I was unfamiliar with your game. I'm glad that they gave you money to make Beau Is Afraid. And I guarantee you Beau Is Afraid will be perfectly fine financially because this is the kind of movie that people are going to find afterwards and obsess over. There's so many signs on the wall I want to read. I want to see all the shit in the background. I'm watching this movie at least 5 more times. No lie. I really enjoyed it. A minus.
Ari
Get a
Aster
hobby
got
to hug.
Mariah Carey to come outside before November 1st for the first time in 15 years. And this is what he did. Come on, man.
He made greatness.
This was me the entire. If I can.
Dex,
find
what's your or not Dex? Royd, what's your grade?
This was me the entire time. Can you see that?
I can't see anything.
I can't. No.
Oh, okay. It's it's the nervous laughing LOL. What the fuck? From Veep. Anyway, so that was me the entire movie. What?
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what? I don't know what I expected. I knew it was going to be weird going
A
in.
movie.
Yeah, I did expect a movie. That was part of my complaint was it was like so structurally unsound to me that it really I really had a bad time with that. Now I'm not gonna pretend like I straight up hated it. I came out of the movie, I was like, that fucking sucked. I sat with it a couple of times, and I've heard people talk about it, and I've gone back and I thought, well, I did laugh at these parts, and some of this was funny, and it was really good filmmaking. Now I sound like the guys I'm talking about online. I didn't like it. Let me just say that I did not like it, but I didn't have the worst time in the world watching it. So
you really are in the middle.
I really am
in the middle of F and an A minus.
Yeah, so I'm somewhere like a C or a D plus. Like I C minus. Let me just go there. D plus. I gotta give it a D plus.
Damn. You just were at C. You got the D.
Yeah, D plus. I was so.
You're with Dex basically. If you're D plus, you're literally with Dex.
No. Dex.
He gave it an F, and you said D minus. That's the same grade.
No, he despises it. He
gave it a 29. You gave it a 34.
Grading on a curve here.
Yeah, D plus, you'll pass.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
You might want to retake it for better grade.
It's like a 50, if that makes any. You tried, but you didn't study hard enough. I think that I just had. It was so long. It was so overlong. And I say that about a lot of movies, but this is like, oh, brother, you felt the entirety of it. I have anxiety. So going to a theater to watch somebody else's anxiety manifested on screen, not a fun time. Not great. And there are some things that I related to, like just how he sees the world and everything is impending doom. And you're one step away from dying every single time you exit your house. Like I have been in those shoes before and it sucks. And so being able to articulate that somehow on screen, I think is well done, but that does not a good movie make.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
And it just would be a lot cheaper if Ari Aster went to therapy than to put his anxieties out on us. I'm not saying don't waste A24's money. I don't give a shit. They make like whatever. They'll throw whatever out into the world.
Yeah. I mean, they made Lamb. They can afford a couple things.
There are people online that are like, how could you waste this studio's time? And I'm like, they did that to them. They knew what they were doing.
They made Lamb. I don't want to hear anybody's shit when they made Lamb.
I don't care about wasting. A24 is now approaching like big studio energy and clout, or they already are. And so I don't care about wasting studios' money.
Every Oscar. Like
I don't care. I just
like literally every big Oscar they won it. So fuck them.
I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it better than what I was telling Dex. is that we have seen too few movies, and critics and filmmakers, like capital C critics and filmmakers, have seen far too many movies. And Ari Aster has seen far too many movies. And he is like, well, this harkens back to, he hasn't said this, but this is, he went to, the AFI Film Institute and was like, this harkens back to Dutch surrealist cinema. And this is the kind of film that I wanted to make. And that doesn't make a good movie to me, because it just, and people are going to get mad at me and Dex in the comments. I can already feel it. It's already reached the
Cook them, guys.
the
Pack them
tipping
up.
point online that if you don't get this, you're a big dumb fucking idiot. And how could you not get this cinema, when really what it is a movie for people that didn't, for people that mommies didn't let them come. And I don't, I just can't.
True.
That is true. That's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah,
Mommy didn't let me come.
That's way too literal. You don't have to be experiencing the things that the characters go through to enjoy a movie. I don't go through shit that John Wick goes through. I still want to see him go through the shit.
No.
I'm built different.
They killed my dog.
It really, but like some of the stuff that he explores in this is just uncomfortable, man. And I'm just, again, I keep saying that it doesn't make an entertaining time to me. Now, I did laugh at some of the things that I think went over a couple of people's head. It would have been better, Tej, like you said, you were in a half full theater. Dex and I were in there with like 5 people.
You were in there with like 5 people. I was in there
alone.
I was by myself.
That doesn't help at all. It was me, another guy that went in there by himself, a big weirdo like me, and 2 couples whose significant other definitely drugged them to that movie. Ari Aster, babe, come on, let's go. You liked Hereditary. And the couples didn't get the movie at all.
I saw this with a woman. We weren't a couple, but I saw this with a woman. She also really enjoyed it. Maybe I'm just weird.
I was in there literally by myself, just me, which like, that's not the only reason I didn't like it. I feel like if I did see it with more people in the theater who were like into it, that probably would have made me enjoy it a little bit more. But I still think I would hate it. I saw 2 other movies by myself yesterday, and I love both of them. So like, it's not one of those things where like I need other people to in the theater to make me like something. I just was not feeling this shit at all.
Yeah, I don't know. And look, I'm an idiot. I'm not as educated as anybody that has watched all of these movies, but I just know when I had a good time and when I had a bad time in the theater. And pizza French fry, you're gonna have a bad time in this movie. And so I just, for those of you who didn't get the South Park reference, anyway, I just think the stuff that he explores is so off-putting at times, and the Oedipal stuff, the Freud of it all, the what he thinks about modern day America, and it just uncomfy.
He's a sicko.
Uncomfy. But I did laugh at some of this stuff. Like the funniest line that I think I've ever heard, and it's because it was so weird, it made me do nervous laughter, what the fuck, was when how did my dad die? He finished inside of me. And I was like, whoa, what? Like, it was just unreal.
When the daughter said, you come into my house, try to steal my parents and steal my bed, you won't even get fucked up with me. I was laughing so hard. That was a great line read by that teenager. Incredible job.
I did laugh at, like,
she was the only good part of the movie to me. I was really into that.
She was going fucking nuts.
And then it was just over. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're moving on.
That was my favorite part of the movie, the whole second act of it. With Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane. Some of Nathan Lane's line readings were really funny because he is Nathan Lane, and Nathan Lane as who he is, and he's just like, everything's fine. Well, that was really weird, and da da da. It just was really great by him. And you know who those actors are and what they've been in. And so to see them in this surrealist thing was really disarming, I think. Joaquin Phoenix is committed. I'll tell him that. I'll tell you that much. Holy shit.
I can't believe Dex gave that rating when he did not do that for whatever that Florence Pugh movie was where she was trapped inside of a different world. What was that shit called? With the One Direction guy.
Oh, Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes, that was a much worse movie than this movie.
No, it wasn't.
That movie was awful.
That was a real movie.
A real movie.
This
is a collection of scenes. This is a collection of scenes he thought up in his head.
Because Teej, like you were saying, with like some of it being very funny and being like this very tension building, anxiety ridden thing. Royden, you talked about him exploring a lot of different topics or whatever with this movie. To me, all of those things are means to an end, and this movie just didn't have an end. Like there was like
that
nothing.
is at the end I did what the fuck.
Like yeah, it's one thing. Like okay, your movie is really great at building tension, really great at building anxiety. That's really cool if it's like in service of a plot or even just a character study. Or like I don't feel like I know anything about Beau at the end of this movie that I didn't know at the beginning with the literal title. Like I just know that he is afraid. Cool. I don't know anything about his personality other than that he's afraid of stuff. I don't know anything about what actually happened with his mom. None of that shit. It just was weird. He was afraid. Thanks. Like that doesn't afraid. That's not a movie. Like I need a plot. I need a story. I need you to like tell me something. I need you to have an opinion on something. Like do something. Exploration in and of itself does not make a movie good. Like explore it and then figure some shit out. And then make a movie where you tell me what the fuck you figured out. Like,
exactly. Also, don't waste my time, please, with the whole middle scene about that's a play that's not a play and everything.
I liked that gag, but that was the only point where I was like, okay, we know
we
get the joke.
Wrap it up.
You don't have to do the whole. It doesn't have to last 5 minutes. We could have made it last 3 minutes.
The one thing I did laugh at in that is like, you will have many children by having sex with her. I'm like, all right. Like little stunted growth from Beau here.
Can we kick it to spoilers now?
Yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, the point of this movie where I was like, I'm all the way out is when the mom walks in on him having sex with this woman who like turns to stone, I guess, and becomes a mannequin, and then she puts him in the attic, which I thought could have been really fucking cool. Like if they would have just ended the movie there, like, oh, now he's in the attic, and that's fucked up. Kind of like The Lighthouse, which is another movie that I hate. But you know, they don't really show you what the light is. Like at the end of that movie, you're just kind of like, oh, that's fucked up. He's in the light now. They could have done that with the attic, but no, there's a big ass penis monster up there he has to fight.
I had that actually spoiled for me, which I hated because a TikTok popped up on my feed, and it was just like me going to see Beau Is Afraid, me getting to the attic scene, and then I read the comments and I was like, no way. And I still was
I didn't have it spoiled for me.
I still was shocked when I saw it on screen. I was like, that's truly unbelievable.
I saw it and I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Why am I here? Like,
yeah, that'll make you question a couple things about what you're doing with your time.
Because I'm literally in the movie theater by myself, and I'm like, it's like a Wednesday night or something like that. I'm very tired. I know I'm gonna have to write a review about this or whatever, and I'm like, what did I do in my life that led me to this point where I'm sitting here watching this giant penis monster fight Joaquin Phoenix on a Wednesday night instead of like, I don't know.
doing anything
doing
else.
anything else. I am sitting here just bitchless and bored,
watching them massive penis monsters.
watching a massive penis fight with Joaquin Phoenix. What has gone wrong in my life that I ended up here?
Well, there on top of everything else, just the absurdity of all that is one thing. But the overtness of it, to have all of this weird Oedipal stuff, and Sigmund Freud continues to just win out, folks. I don't know if you've been online, but he's putting up wilt numbers. But just to have all that stuff, not even in subtext, but just like spoken. But then all of a sudden you see it in the literal form of a penis monster hidden away in his mom's house. And you're just like, okay, fuckface. Like, what do we do? You know,
I did not like that. I that was the one moment where it was like, all right, it's way too literal. And I understand it because again, you're in Beau's nightmare. And so if he has weird things about sex, that could be something he would see in a nightmare. But as something that you see in a movie, it's like, that is uninteresting to build the tension to where he's walking to the attic and then he gets up there and it's a massive penis monster. It would have been better if it was just his twin brother up there that he didn't know he had. That's enough shock and awe.
Or his
twin brother could attack him or something. Like the twin brother can be confused. Like what something, anything other than like a literal massive penis. I was like, all right, that's a bit of a letdown. But I was appreciative of the tension that they built. But then we have to have the penis kill the guy that I thought was already dead because I thought he shot himself like 30 times, but then he was alive again. And so I was like, okay, this is a nightmare, so it doesn't really matter. And then the penis stabbed him through the head, and I was like, oh, this is a killer penis. I get it. And then that was the end, and I was like, why did we go up the attic in the first place? I wish we had rather not gone up there. And, we just had this Mariah Carey scene. It was perfect. And now we have a dick monster on the screen. And I bet you Mariah Carey was not told that there was going to be a dick monster. Like Mariah Carey probably didn't know there was going to be a dick monster, and there's still 30 minutes left after the dick monster.
Well, this whole movie is if you have sex, you will get pregnant and die.
Yep.
Literally, my guy both thought he was about to die. He was like, "Please stop! Things
also,
are happening. I'm going to die."
A ton of Keanu Reeves' fake ball sack in this movie.
Wait, what?
There's so much balls in this movie.
There's a lot of nudity in all his movies.
Did you not see that on screen, Dex?
You mean Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, well, there's several times where it's
when he was wrestling with the guy in the tub, there definitely was some sackage.
Like him getting in the tub, balls.
Yeah. But you said Keanu Reeves, and I was
like, did I say Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's why I was confused too. I was like, what movie is that a reference to? I don't.
I was like, what? Did Keanu Reeves standing as a balls model for this movie?
A balls model.
He's taking this. I don't even have a joke for that. That's just a stupid slip. You said John Wick 4 earlier. I was thinking Keanu Reeves. Can you imagine? 4. I'm here to stand in as the balls model. The best acting Keanu Reeves has done in years. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Anyway, ton of Joaquin Phoenix scrotum.
So many balls.
I don't want to be that guy, but the Parker Posey sex scene is the one thing I saw coming from 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, that's fair.
100% knew that was going to happen. So I wasn't it didn't crack me up that much. I don't know why.
You didn't know what the needle drop was going to be.
Yeah, the needle drop was the thing that I was like, oh, wow, that's what we're doing. I was jamming, but I was also like, why would you do this to me?
She started the song over. I was dying when she started the song over. I was like, this is just incredible, bro. This is just, they ran that shit back.
Also watching that though, I was like, that's real weird. Real weird time now your first nut.
Especially not like your mom is right there. Your mom watched you have your first nut. She saw the whole thing.
Yeah, it was like I knew you weren't dead. I was like, that makes it even weirder.
You're in your mom's bed. She just died.
As a grown man.
But if you think that she's still alive, that's even weirder. That's much weirder, actually. But if you've been virgin for that long, you're probably not going to turn it down just because it happens to be in your mom's bed. Especially when you hated your mom. He probably thought it was like a shot in her eye. Like, fuck you, mom. I'm
and
fuck
I guess
on
he
your
also
bed.
thought he was going to die. So.
Yeah, that's true. You can't really get in trouble for it if you're dead.
If I just go here, who cares?
She said, "Did the condom go on?" He was trying to see if the condom went on, and she's like, "You bust right through the bag." He was like, "Oh,
blew right through that bag."
You blew right through that bag. It's hilarious. How could you not love that, Dex? I was laughing so hard when she said that, bro. That was incredible.
The funniest thing that Marcus tweeted us, or Marcus Brent tweeted us, he said, "My main question is, how did he not see his mom that was already in that bathroom?" And Dex goes, "That was your main question you had
of all the questions, that was your question.
There's
so much shit that's just unexplained forever, and I guess it's just like Beau Is Afraid. Like that's just it. Like you just like why we spent the whole first chunk of the movie with like his neighbors are playing loud music and getting pissed off at him for it, and it's like, okay, I guess we're just never going to talk about that again. Cool. What was that? What do we do that for? Why do we spend 45 minutes here?
We have to show that Beau is afraid.
That's the anxiety thing that I was talking about. Is like of people you don't know hate me.
How can y'all like when you start to realize that all the worst things that he thinks are going to happen, like when he goes to get the water, he makes it across the street. There's literally people shooting. It is the scariest thing you've ever seen. And he gets over there. The guy is giving him shit about like 13 cents exactly. The whole block is walking into his building. I was laughing hysterically. It was so obnoxious. It was so over the top. I appreciated that. It was like, it's not just like a couple roughnecks are going to go to his building. The block was empty. When he came back outside of the block was literally empty.
Everything that he was
the whole block was in his room. That is fucking hilarious. Like that, to me, the movie is so funny and it's so aware of itself. And I agree. I don't know what the hell happened or didn't happen. I can't tell you what actually happened to Beau, whether the final scene was real. I think that it is real that he is dead, but I don't think that he died in a coliseum full of people watching his final rites. I think that he died in the pond alone. But like, I just thought it was the way that he built the world. Everything looks phenomenal. I thought the performances were great. I had a great time. I'm not kidding. I cannot wait to watch it again. The first day that's on streaming, I'm clearing my evening. I'm taking mushrooms and I'm watching that shit again. I thought it was hilarious. I had a great time. I was laughing the whole time.
Freak out that somebody with anxiety, the freak out that I would have if I took mushrooms and watched this movie. I'd cry. I would cry and probably shit.
Saying that anybody should do that. If you're listening to this podcast, by the way, Joaquin said don't do it, so definitely don't do it. But real niggas did it. But that doesn't mean that y'all have to do it, guys.
I've actually never taken mushrooms, so I don't even.
Oh, you would have been.
I have no frame of reference for what I would have been,
especially
like
by yourself in that theater.
Being by yourself on mushrooms in a theater watching Beau Is Afraid would be horrifying.
Yeah, somebody
absolutely horrifying.
They would come in to clean that theater afterwards and be like, "Why are you still here?" I'm just sitting there,
I'm melted to the chair,
heaving on the floor.
I'm melted to the chair. I can't get up. The chair is my home.
But yeah, I would be on board with all that weird shit if I felt like it was going somewhere. And I just didn't. Like, it didn't go anywhere actively.
It just literally goes to a place where it is a literal interpretation of Ari Aster pointing the camera outwards and saying, like, what do you think of my film? And what do you think of my work? You've been judging me for my work. And I'm like, but like, we like his other work.
Some of us like all his work. Well, not something about the Johnsons. Let me get on the record. I don't like that shit.
He did that shit.
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah, he did something strange about whatever that shit is called. If you're listening to this, you don't know what that is. Good. Do not Google it. Do not watch it.
I haven't
watched it,
film
but I know
leaked
about it.
Online.
That's sicko content. Yeah. I would not recommend it.
Yeah, keep Ari Aster off the streets, fam. Lock him up.
Lock him up right now.
Lock him up.
I put on Twitter.
Keep making movies that only Teej likes, but Keep him off the streets.
Hey, Bo too furious. I am in the building, brothers. I am there.
Beau is too afraid.
I was too afraid. Do you think I put on Twitter? Do you think his parents watch his films, or does he just
I
tell
have been
them
asking
like
that question for the
tell
last.
them like no, stay away, you can't come to the premiere?
He's been refusing to basically answer any questions like that in his interviews. I've been looking because there's no way you say, "Hey, mom, come watch my film," and don't tell her what it's about, and she watches this. Like, there's just no way that could ever go over well. But maybe he does hate his parents, or maybe he wants to fuck his mom. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Okay, he's
Also,
a sicko.
bro, you don't get to make all these mommy issue movies and make millions of dollars and then not answer questions about your fucking mommy issues, bro. Clearly, you got something to say. Like, let's take it there. If we gonna take it there,
He
quit
says he
playing in my
thinks that
face.
chapter is closing. He thinks that they've been in all the 3 movies. There's been parent issues and mommy issues, but he thinks that chapter is closing, so he thinks he's gonna explore new themes, or at least he alluded to that. But I bet you some
We gonna
Oedipal
close as
shit's
soon
gonna
as
show
you
up in the next
explain some
movie.
shit to me because I got questions, motherfucker. Like, you have some issues. I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with. I want to make informed choices as a consumer of media. All right, what are we dealing with here? Talk to me.
There's a different movie here too because of some of the stuff of like how he was in all of her ad campaigns and how he was living in a home that her company sponsored and like
Yep.
how the therapist was in on it and everybody was watching. And that's another manifestation of like the anxiety is like everybody is working for, towards against him
Yeah, they
rather.
could have made it the
Yeah,
Truman
The
Show.
Truman Show of it.
Yeah, there's a Truman Show element that wasn't explored here that maybe to me is a better movie, but they just glance over it and it's like this is just a manifestation of whatever is going on inside of his head. But then again, we don't know what's going on inside of his head because it's all out there. It's everything is on the screen. It all feels literal. And that's kind of the problem that I had overall with the movie. And I'll kind of wrap up my review there is it all is metaphorical and literal at the same time. And I don't like that.
Yeah, I think I've settled on that surrealism is not for me. I wrote that in my review. I was like, I understand the surrealist like theory of art and making shit that doesn't make sense, and that's like fine or whatever. It's just not for me, and that's okay. I don't just because I understand what something is trying to do intellectually doesn't mean I have to like it, and I don't like Beau Is Afraid, so that's where I'm at.
Also, Tej, and I'm not saying this is you, but there is like a subsect of people like online that are deep into now Ari Aster is this God King and he can do no wrong. And Dex and I were talking about that, how people now weigh the people's career into their filmmaking more so than ever before.
Yeah,
And that's fine and good when you're talking about Spielberg and Scorsese and people with skins on the wall. We now do that for people that have made 3 films. And it's really weird and bad online.
yeah, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
He's 36. He's not old.
My take is that Ari Aster is a God King. That's my take.
Okay, well,
That's my
maybe I'm
take.
talking about you, but the people that are like, you're wrong, at least you can admit like why people wouldn't like this. But the people who are like, you're wrong, dumb, and bad online because you didn't get this like you didn't get this Artur's art is just
Yeah,
we're getting a little ahead of our skis as far as like how we evaluate things, and that's kind of going into a wrong place that I don't necessarily like.
yeah. I don't
That's
like
fair.
when people work backwards from, well, this director is a genius and he made this movie, so the movie must be genius, and then they like fill in their takes like working backwards from that. Like I feel like people do that with Ari Aster. People start doing it with Jordan Peele, like stuff like that. I don't like the movie on its own is a movie. It's good, it's bad, whatever. But like if you're the reason that you like it starts with, well, Ari Aster made it and it's part of this Ari Aster journey in cinema or whatever, I'm like, that tells me nothing about the movie. Like,
I
that just
want
tells
you to
me you're
know.
a fan.
I want you to recognize how ironic it is that a Drake fan is saying this thing that you're saying right now, because that's all Drake fans do. I like this album because it's a Drake album. That's why I like this album. I don't. I think that people are definitely doing that with like
No.
certain people. I don't think they're doing it with Ari Aster. Ari Aster doesn't have a hive that's going to lie to us about his movie being. I don't. I don't
That
think
is
that he
just
has.
not true.
I
He
don't think that he
definitely
has
does.
people that would lie. I think he has people that like his movies. I don't think that's a lie. I think people like his movies.
I don't know.
I don't know why they would lie in support of Ari Aster. I don't.
Are
That
we
doesn't
on a
make any
different?
sense.
Are we on different internet decks?
I feel we must be. Because people are
Twitter's all
definitely
kinds
doing
of
that.
fucked up now, so maybe we're on a different Twitter.
That's like y'all telling me that people are lying about like enjoying Anthony Edwards playing. Like Anthony Edwards is actually good, and people enjoy watching Anthony Edwards play. And if someone told me that they didn't enjoy watching Anthony Edwards play, I would believe them, but I would not think that everybody who likes watching Anthony Edwards play like actually is lying about liking Anthony Edwards.
I wouldn't
like
think they're lying about liking Anthony Edwards, but if Anthony Edwards puts up a fucking stinker and they're instead of saying Anthony Edwards played a stinker, they're like, well, did you look at his screen assist? I'll be like, you're lying, bro.
It's like a Jokic fan.
Yeah, it's like even us with James Harden, it's like, James Harden sometimes he do some indefensible shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if I tell you, well, actually, James Harden might have shot 3 for 47 from the field tonight, but if you look at some of those passes he was making, those should have been assists. His teammates were just missing.
If
And
Clint Capella could finish a layup,
he should have had a few different rebounds, but they were called fouls. Like, now I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. I feel like it's one thing to say, like, this movie was actually good and y'all are tripping. I do that all the time with movies that people don't like. I do it with Drake albums that people don't like. I listen to Honestly Nevermind all day today at work because I love that shit. But if somebody is like, that shit is whack, I'm not gonna be like, well, you have to be on an island in Ibiza to like really appreciate it. Like, that sounds like I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I like that shit.
Speaking of lying, Jordan Poole just bricked a 3 to tie. So
good.
Jordan Poole stinks.
It's the funniest tweet I've ever seen. Spins him around 3 times like a top before he goes out on the court.
LeBron James had more than 22.5 points. That's what I care about.
Let us see. This is now NBA talk on One Take Podcast. LeBron.
He has 22 points. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, and he missed the 3 there at towards the end. 22 and 10.
You bitch.
Oh, he also bricked a free throw too. Let's see. They may foul him. No, he was inbounding. No, he ain't gonna get
LeBron, yeah. It ain't gonna be for you, Dex.
Anthony Davis had 30 and 22.
I'm not gonna tell the people listening to go see Beau Is Afraid. I'm just gonna say, if you like Ari Aster and if you like real cinema, then you might like Beau Is Afraid. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, you've heard from Dex and Royden who do not like Beau Is Afraid, which is they're perfectly in their right to feel that way. I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't like Beau Is Afraid, but there are also a lot of us who love Beau Is Afraid, and we are legion, just like we are legion when it comes to telling everybody that the last Brad Pitt movie was the greatest film of all time. No one wants to listen. That's fine, but it happened, and we will never forget it.
Look, man, I'm just saying, if you're unlike Tej, who is like in the weirdest cross section in movie going history, if you got pre-sale tickets to go see Guardians 3 this weekend, you're not gonna like this movie.
Listen, I'm gonna be right there for Guardians, so I would disagree with that take. Because
Exactly, you are
ready.
in a weird Venn diagram of weirdos and sickos and normal people. You're in
Gunn
right
about to give us some real cinema, brother. I cannot wait. I am very excited for Guardians. We need to pack up all the Guardians. We need to pack them up. Let's do it. I want it. Everyone except for Groot, because they already killed Groot, so we should just leave Groot alive. But everybody else can go. Wait,
it kind of looks like it's only going to be Groot and Star-Lord that are left, because she straight up came out. Gamora, Zoe Saldana straight up came out and said, "I'm done. I'm out."
Get her out of here. We've already killed her once. We can kill her again. No big deal. She can go. We got to get. I want Star Lord out of here, though. I need it. I don't think they're going to do it. I need Star Lord on a fucking poster. I need him to get posterized. I hate Star Lord. Get him out of here.
Not happening. Dex, you have watched more movies. I meant to go see a couple. Like, I need to go see Sisu, which is only like an hour and a half. But
I need to see Sisu as well.
Same.
And Polite
also,
Society.
Also, you saw Polite Society and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is like the best reviewed film ever.
It's really good. It's delightful. I didn't read that book at any point, so I can't compare it, but it's just a delightful little story about a girl growing up. She's like a sixth grader or whatever, and she has very normal sixth grade problems. And it's just really well done. Also, there's like, her parents, one's Jewish and one's Christian, so there's like this weird like religious tension that's in it, but like they do it well, and it just works. Most of the time she's just running around being a sixth grade girl, doing sixth grade girl hijinks, and it's actually good and entertaining. I obviously was never a sixth grade girl at any point, so I don't know like how real and relatable it is, but it seems very real to me. And I thought it worked really well. Polite Society, yeah, very different movie, but also delightful in its way. More of your traditional coming of age story. High school girl, her older sister is getting married and she feels abandoned and is trying to like stop her older sister from getting married and abandoning her. And obviously it goes a lot deeper than that. They mix in some fight scenes in there, which is dope. Instead of your normal teenage girls screaming and shouting at each other, it's them literally just fighting, like doing kung fu and shit, and it's dope. So I highly recommend both of those movies. I was the only person in my theater for both, but I still laughed out loud, which doesn't really happen that often when I watch movies by myself. So yeah, they're both a good time. If you don't want to go see Guardians for whatever reason, go see those instead.
All right.
My niece is in second grade, and she went to go see the Bloom movie, and she said it was great. She had a great time, and now she wants to get the book so she can read it.
Yeah, I want to review that movie because it is like one of the most well reviewed movies maybe ever on Rotten Tomatoes. But shockingly, none of us have read the coming of age tale for women. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Shockingly, that wasn't given to me in my household growing up. But yeah, I hopefully, because we know women, hopefully we can get a woman on that podcast.
Yeah,
we know some women. So yeah, we'll try to get somebody on for that podcast. And I gotta see Sisu, man. That looks fucking nuts.
Facts. I gotta tap in.
Yeah. Oh, just real quick, I watched Plane finally. As a palate cleanser
is it better than Ambulance?
No, it's not.
Good. I'm glad you're not telling the lies that Dex has told on this podcast.
It's not even close. Not even close. But I had a good time. Had a good time. Yeah. Tej, anything?
No, I'm all ready for Guardians, brother. I'm already watching my little recap videos. I'm ready. I just need pack watch, pack alert. We'll be back. We'll be doing Guardians next, and I need the MCU to really give me one because I am the Marvel fanboy. I have been with them through the thick and the thin. Other than the Eternals, which is the worst movie of all time, I have been with them. But Ant-Man broke me in a particular way. The Ant-Man was nasty, bro. I'm sorry. That what they did with Kang was disgusting to me. I hated it. So I'm very looking forward to having another black villain that hopefully doesn't go out like a fucking bitch. He's going to pack up some Guardians, and I need that. It's going to be great.
All right. You can find us at One Take Pod on Twitter, One Take Pod on Instagram, TikTok, the like. You can find us at @less_humble Tej, at Lord Dex Hinton, at Royden Ogletree on Twitter. If you're still on that website, Lord knows we don't need to be. But you can find Dex's writing on his Twitter and at apollohou.com under the
Pop culture.
pop culture movies tab. So go and read some of his fine writing and how much he hated this movie in writing form. So you can go find that. You can find Tej's college football podcast at the Slander U podcast. Anything going on there? Like we mocking how many few draft picks like each team had, or what?
We're gonna do the draft stuff. We're also gonna talk a lot about Colorado, who apparently lost their whole entire roster to transfers. We're gonna talk a lot about Colorado, and we got some Oklahoma slander coming because it's almost time for the daily tradition of Oklahoma fans lying, and I'm very excited it's coming up.
When do the Twitter Spaces start?
They never stop, brother. They live in spaces. That's where they tell their lies. It's their own little echo chamber. It's why they really thought that losing Lincoln Riley and the best quarterback in college football was a good thing. Overall net positive for their program.
You know, actually losing the Heisman winner is fine. It's okay.
It will actually be better because of it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see.
In the long run. Yeah, so you can find us all at those platforms. Pay the Writers Guild what they want to be paid, you losers, so we can get on with our lives and not have a bunch of shitty reality TV shows.
Thank you for saying that. Pay the fucking writers. Get it done. I am old enough to remember how
2007 was a hellscape.
Shit in 2007. If some of my favorite shows were very, very poorly affected, and even me as a little dweeb could tell that something wasn't fucking right with the shit that I used to watch because the writing drastically changed. If y'all start getting AI to write these fucking shows, we will boycott. We don't want to see your AI scripts. We don't want to. Well, I mean, I do want to see reality TV, but I also want to see real cinema. So please get the writer's strike taken care of. Pay these people. They are the engines of the car that is Hollywood. Pay them, bitch. Pay them.
Yep. If you don't think the writer's strike means anything, go back to the second season of Friday Night Lights and tell me what you think about that, because that's when they filmed that show. Landry killed a guy, and they never talked about it again. So yeah. Anyway, Dex, what are we doing?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh. Just shaved her head at the Met Gala. It was dope.
Sure.
It was not dope.
What is she acting in next to where she could shave her head, and that's just a perfectly
Dune
fine
Part
decision.
2.
I don't know what.
She probably already filmed that, though.
Yeah, Dune Part 2 is already in the can. I don't know what she would be filming next.
Listen, Florence, I'm not saying I don't like the cut. I do like the cut.
I don't.
However, I'm thinking about I respect her hair decision, but I'm thinking about cinema here. It shocked me, but I mean, I guess it was perfectly fine. But maybe she should have been in Dune like that, because that looks like a Dune-related fashions. That looks like Dune.
Well, she's going to be in Thunderbolts, so maybe she's going with the shaved head for that.
So Disney signed off on this?
Maybe. I mean, all those people wear wigs anyway.
Okay, that's a good point.
All right. One more time, Dex.
Hashtag support Florence Pugh.
We'll never waver. We're out.